Hey guys, it's Amber and welcome to day 9 of my December daily. So I'm going to be doing a page about some glass ornaments that we made. We actually made them right after Thanksgiving in November, and I have a lot of pictures because I want to show the kids making them, what they look like before they got melted, what they look like after they got melted in the kiln. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. I didn't want to do another flip out because I just had one on day 1. It's only day 9, but I might have to. So what I'm thinking about doing is having a 6x8 front page and having it lift either up or out that way instead of it being a page protector that flips, so that I can include all of these. And so that it wasn't so busy, I turned all of these into black and whites. So I'm going to trim these out and then start coming up with some sort of creative idea. All right, so I'm going to start you on my fast forward process part of the video here and just showing you a little bit here about trimming out my photos. I have to bounce back and forth between my Making Memories 12x12 trimmer and my We Are Memory Keepers 6x8, but I use both pretty interchangeably often. I bought the smaller one because it's much easier for process videos and smaller photos to deal with, and I find I get crisper lines. So I cut out all my photos, and here I'm working on the fold out portion of my project. I have this really old 12x12 white pocket that I've had in my scrapbooking stash for maybe 10 years or more, and I've never used them. And as I was looking for something to use for a flip out instead of page protectors, I came across this and realized that I could cut it down, and it was a thick enough and heavy enough cardstock that it would work for the base of what I need, because this is going to be a very literally heavy layout because it's going to have flip outs and multiple pictures, so it's just weighty. So I'm unfolding it so that I can trim out the portion of the front flip where the holes are going to go. And since this is actually a 14-inch wide thing unopened, I'm grabbing my ruler so I can measure out a 1/2 inch off the edge, which I'm punching out or using to leave room to punch out the holes. So I got really lucky on my first try. I was trying to be cautious to not trim off too much, because I could always trim a little bit more, but you can't ever tape it back, or you could, but it just doesn't work very well. So I grabbed one of my page protectors to line everything up, and I don't know about anybody else this year, but mine are 7 inches wide by 8.5 tall. So I've been using those measurements. They're huge. Usually they're 8.25, but this year they're 8.5. And so I've been having to really double check all the measurements with everything that I'm doing. So I just grab over my 6-hole punch from Michael's. It's the Recollections brand for their planners. It's much cheaper, but works just as well, I feel, as the one from Amazon, and I'm pretty happy with the quality of mine. And so here I'm beginning to start the process of building out my video. And let it be known that I did an hour and a half of decision making without the camera on, trying to decide my card, where my flip ups were going to go, what patterned paper I used for the inside of the flip ups. I was being super indecisive with this one in particular today. So I ended up having to trim down my cover photo. I had originally sized it so that it could be on its own, but it needed to be much smaller to fit inside this 6.5 inch space where the front flap is going to be. So I didn't have a white border on the photo anymore, but I cut it down and trimmed it enough so that the white cardstock would work as a perfect 1/4 inch border around the outside of everything. So I was happy with the way that looked. And I'm able to use a full 3x4 photo inside, whereas I've been using the white borders all along the album because it is wider than a standard size would be, because it's the size of the page protector. So I can leave full bleed 3x4 photos and cards and not have to worry about the border, because I still have space for the border while mounting everything. So I'm creating my flip outs here with a 2x3 inch square piece of paper folded in half at the 1 inch mark. And I'm just using some rolling dot adhesive. You see my red line tape. I had considered using that in case I thought I needed it, but it felt really secure. And so I'm just folding, I'm adhering the top of the bottom photo to the front of the bottom part of the flip. I'm trying to think about how this is now. And then the other portion goes on the inside of the top photo, and then that gets covered with pattern paper so that you can't see the flip hardly at all, except for a little tiny crease in the middle. So I've jumped quite a bit further ahead here, where I've already used some Gina K Terrific tape, which is like a double-sided adhesive tape, and mounted all of my parts together. I have already included all of my inside papers, because like I said, it took a ton of time for me to make these decisions, because I was trying to use a paper that complemented the glass ornament being featured underneath, but also still worked within the theme of my whole page. So now I'm just getting ready to mount everything, and I used the Gina K Terrific tape for the first time. I was really happy with it. It's very thin, quite sticky. It's a little difficult to peel the paper off, but not so annoying that I wouldn't stop using it. And so here I'm just adding my Bring on the Merry chipboard piece. That was actually an add-on from the Advent calendar, and it was the perfect green to go with that Holiday Memories card, which is from the main kit with Allie Edwards from this year. And I'm just getting everything lined up by eye pretty much and centered. And like I said, I was really happy with the fact that I could have borders around everything. It just gives a little bit of visual space for your eyes to have a space to rest. Excuse me. So I'm just finishing and adhering all of these things down. I think I needed to trim my photo a little bit. And then I just grab over my journaling card, enter my journaling, and then that's the last piece that I add on. I didn't want to try to write with everything on the entire thing already built, so I just did it separately, and then that was my last piece. It just talks about where we went, what we did, and who made what, like what their little themes were. And I still kind of want to do something with like a 1, 2, 3, 4 letter sticker or number stickers from maybe the front to the inside. I have to decide. I actually might go back and do that. So then I grabbed over these Allie Edwards Christmas tabs so that I can use those to lift up. I didn't want to use Avery index tabs. It would have just been too thick and too heavy. And I couldn't put them at the bottom of the flip ups because then all the words would be upside down. So I just put them on the inside of the photos. I got lucky with the first one because it did not cover my journaling. The rest I wasn't quite as worried about it. So I have one that says Merry, one that says Bright, one that says Joy, and I'm not quite sure what the fourth, I think the other one says Cheer. So I'm just showing how it works. Everything's been built and put together. My last thing that I need to do is put on my number 9. Struggled with this even. I was being so particular. I was trying to look for a black and white paper, and that was like too plain and what was like causing all the struggle. As soon as I thought maybe I should go with red, I found the perfect paper with just a light enough pattern not to distract, and it just made it pop because, you know, of the bright color. The paper that's the page that's next to it from day 8, everything just looked really well put together. I was very happy with it. And then my last course of action was just to put something on the back, because I actually did these out of order. I did day 10 ahead of time because I knew this was going to be a big project and I didn't have time for it the previous day. So I again, super long decision time, but I used this Jasmine Jones Let Your Heart Be Light dark green paper. It didn't really have anything to do with the story. It's literally a filler card, but it looked really nice next to my day 10. So just leaving you with a few photos, hoping you'll find inspiration to maybe make a layout with tons of photos. And I am really proud of how this one came out. So I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and have fun working on your December daily albums. Thanks again so much. Bye.